Welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Appreciate your patience here this morning. Ross and I were talking off the air and we were having some fun. So I appreciate y'all for being patient. You're like, where's the show at? And I apologize. So we're happy to be here with you inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They are open for sales and service for you Monday through Saturday and all the time at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. We're up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So thanks for hanging out with us. You can also find us on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, YouTube, and more. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', giving you a list of topics and guests for the day. Ross is joining me to continue the drive that we've been bringing you now for 15 years. And in this drive, we'll be bringing you through the recapping of the round of 64 and round of 32 in the men's Division I NCAA tournament for the basketball side of things. Ross and I will let you know how our brackets are doing. We'll put up each of the pieces of the bracket, the East, the West, the Midwest, and the South. We'll assess what's going on. We'll talk about the Sweet 16 as the games are back this Thursday, March 26th. So very excited about that. And speaking of basketball, my guy Tyus Battle is going to join me at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Tyus was with Syracuse when Gerry McNamara was an assistant coach. And Tyus Battle and I will be discussing the return of GMac to Syracuse officially. As of yesterday morning, Gerry McNamara is back in Orange and ready to go. Am I surprised? This is my surprise face, because I've been talking about it for a very long time. So that being said, Ross and I are here for hour one, and in hour two, I'll be joined by Mr. Tyus Battle. So what? Okay, so we got Stitch with sunglasses.
My son Stitchy, LJ wanted to be on the show today. He's at school, so then I told him I'll let Stitch be your consigliere, and he will be your representative on the Dan Tortora show today. So Stitchy, by request of LJ, your little Mitch is on the show today. He wanted to party today. He's eating an ice cream cone. He's got cool shades on. He's very pumped for GMac. He's very pumped for opening day. Netflix only. Better get your Netflix, because they're going to kick you off. I used to be able to share it with everyone. That's apparently a crime now. Everyone has to have their own Netflix. Yankees versus San Francisco Giants in San Francisco, California, tonight at 8 o'clock, Netflix only, opening night, and then tomorrow, opening day for everyone in Major League Baseball. I know it's a little cold out there, but get ready. It's springtime. It's baseball time, and it kicks off tonight, opening night baseball, and we got March Madness coming back with Sweet 16 action tomorrow night. So great time, exciting times to be a sports fan this time of year.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, and I'm really looking forward to what's coming up here for the wonderful world of sports, as we have baseball, like you said, coming back kind of on Netflix, but coming back for opening day tomorrow. So, I mean, tomorrow's going to have a full slate of games. Today has one game, but if you don't have Netflix, then
you're out of luck.
You're out of luck.
Netflix, so. Or, like I said, you can't really share passwords anymore. I used to love sharing passwords. I was just trying to help out friends and family. I did it with you, did it with my family. I consider you family. But now they try to crack down on that. So most of the time, it either kicks you out, or you have to send annoying text messages like, did you just get a code? Did they just email you a code? And it's like, that's what it is now. But how do they know if I'm traveling or if I'm in the Syracuse area at a given time? They shouldn't bother me. I'm just trying to help them out. But Netflix is going to do what Netflix does. But I will be watching tonight because I'm pumped for baseball. And World Baseball Classic was fun. USA, unfortunately, got knocked out last Tuesday on St. Patrick's Day, 3-2 to Venezuela. But still was a great tournament. And now we're getting ready. Spring training, after a while, that gets boring because the games don't count. And you get guys who are bagging groceries in a few weeks. So, unfortunately, a lot of the guys are minor leaguers, and the big stars don't play much in spring training. It's nice to begin when you're desperate for baseball and to break the cold winter months. But now I'm excited that the games count. And, tomorrow is even, how they brought back basketball, NBA on NBC, the return of baseball on NBC for the first time in 26 years since 2000. There'll be Major League Baseball doubleheader, Pirates versus the Mets with Paul Skeens pitching. And then at 8:30, the defending world champion Dodgers with Otani are going to take on your Arizona Diamondbacks at 8:30 on NBC and Peacock. And they were also going to probably raise their championship banner, their back-to-back championship banners and World Series rings. And who can knock off the Dodgers and prevent the three-peat? Let's see what happens. Because my Yankees were the last team to do a three-peat, and that was 98, 99, and 2000. And now the Dodgers are trying to do the same. Before, as we all talked about last week, there might be Armageddon for baseball. There might not be a season next year. So, again, enjoy it. Enjoy opening day. Hopefully that will warm you up during some of these cold early spring days, because who knows if there'll be baseball next season. So let's enjoy it while we can. And I have my Yankee hat, and I got Stitchy, and I got my bracket, and my doodles from last week as well. So my beautiful
artwork. Yeah. Yeah, the bracket, Ross and I bringing you through the drive every single season. We let you know what is going on with the NCAA tournament. We unveil our brackets. We choose the entire field. And then from there, after choosing the field, we go into how the games, we choose the whole bracket, every single game, all the way from the play-in games to the national championship. Then we assess what happens as we go. We see where we're right. We see where we were off. And then we move forward and we continue to pick those games. So Ross and I are going to take a look at the bracket, and then we're going to assess where we're at, and then we're going to go ahead and give you our picks. So in the East region, I'll let you know how things shook out, my wonderful people of the internet. This is how the bracket went down, and this is where we're at right now. So in the East, Duke went up against Siena, barely won that game, 71-65. Shout out to Gerry McNamara. May have helped him get the job at Syracuse.
They were up by 11 points, Siena, at halftime, and they just ran out of gas. They only played 5 guys. They got tired at the end, but it was still a 6-point game. Siena was in that game, and in that first half, I was texting you, buddy. I'm like, GMac's about to pull off a miracle. And I was telling you the last few weeks, including last week's show, get GMac to Syracuse. They missed out on him the last time around the coaching circle. This is your chance. So I'm very happy, and I know you are, that came to fruition. But that was a heck of a game. And just quickly, I don't know about you, but I'm very pumped. My Final Four is still intact. A lot of teams I picked are wrong, but my Final Four and majority of my Sweet 16 is still intact. So it's not a complete abomination, my bracket, like some people's brackets are.
Yeah, now we'll talk about where our brackets are at as we go through this. So I'm going to recap the games that were won, what happened, and where things are at in each of the 4 pieces of the NCAA Division I men's basketball bracket. And once we let you know where everything's at, Ross and I will let you know where we are at as far as how we're doing and where our picks are. So this is how it all went down. This is what the bracket looks like in the East. So Duke defeated Siena, TCU defeated Ohio State, St. John's defeated Northern Iowa, Kansas defeated Cal Baptist, who was in their first tournament ever, Louisville defeated South Florida, which expedited the process of Brian Hodgson making his decision, and he was rumored to be up for the Syracuse job, which from my sources I can confirm that he was up for Syracuse's job and he backed away from it. He took his name out of the running, and after doing that, there was another coach, Schertz of St. Louis, who was in the running for the job, and then Gerry McNamara. From what?
Well, was he ever? Because ESPN and other media reports, you never know what's real or not. They were trying to claim that the South Florida coach, that he turned down was he ever offered the job? Because they claimed he turned it down. You're saying he took his name out of consideration. That's kind of different. But now he's going to be the head coach in the Big East at Providence. He still leaves South Florida. But I wonder if you know for sure, was he offered the job or did he just back away before it was ever offered?
From what I understand and from how I worded it out there, from my understanding, from my sources, which were very close to the situation, he turned like it was. He said no. So I mean but I don't know. I'm not sure if there was a money offer on the table that was like, hey, this is how much we're going to get. I don't know if there was an offer of literal money on the table, but from what I understood, he was the guy and he told them no.
And then I'm surprised you're saying there was another guy.
Another coach, yeah. So
like it wasn't officially finalized until yesterday morning.
Right.
But as of Sunday morning, I texted you right away when I started to see it. Like all these, especially basketball, quote unquote experts, started reporting that they're working on finalizing a deal. Syracuse and GMac, it's going to be a done deal, but maybe by the end of Sunday, it's about to happen. Yeah. And you were like, it's not happened yet. We don't know. It's like a done deal. So I didn't know how close. Then there was going to be another coach that might have jumped in, but I figured it was GMac all the way, especially after the South Florida coach was no longer in consideration.
No, there was another coach from my sources that was in consideration for this. So it was Brian Hodgson. He declined. He said no. There was things that he couldn't get past. And then Josh Schertz, the head coach of St. Louis and the Billikens, he was up for it as of this past weekend, and then he backed away. And then
he was also offered it and turned it down or backed away.
He was in discussions up until very late. I think it was. I want to say it was either Saturday. It had to have been Saturday. No, it was Saturday night. That was it Saturday night or Sunday night? That he was in discussions very late into the night.
Because if it was Sunday night, because people were like, "Oh, they're working with GMac by Sunday morning." Maybe he just was a backup option in case the GMac deal fell through. Thankfully, that didn't happen, and the Scranton natives come back home to Syracuse. And I really find it cool that he's going to get to coach Carmelo Anthony's son. Won the national title with him in 2003, and now should be able to coach Carmelo's son as a sophomore come next season. And you wonder what kind of recruits, maybe other guys from Siena, that he might be able to bring with him.
Yeah, and so I'm looking at this right now from the conversations that I had. Oh, here it is. So yeah, so late Saturday night.
Okay.
Josh Schertz was on the table.
And they had a big first-round win over Georgia. They destroyed them in their first-round game. So he got a nice tournament win. So that I'm sure helps his negotiations.
Yeah, so I mean, Brian Hodgson was that was a discussion. That was from what I understand first. And he said no. He declined, left. And then Josh Schertz was in discussions until late Saturday night. Saturday night. And then it's Gerry McNamara.
I think the fan base, though, is going to, he still has got to do it on the court and get the job done, recruit well, do it with all the NIL and all the other craziness you have to deal with, eligibility and all that. But the fan base is going to be pumped. So he, at least to begin with, rather than even those other two coach candidates, he's going to have the full support of the Syracuse fan base because of what he's brought to the table and won at Syracuse championships and, then coaching for years under Boeheim as an assistant for like 15 years. So I think at least initially it's a home run hire, just been how excited the fan base is. And there's hope again in Syracuse for basketball. So and with a new athletic director, and that's all you can hope for at this point, is there's a chance that this program could turn around hopefully quickly.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
And he did that in Siena. He turned them around quickly. I know it's a smaller school, but he did that quick.
This was the right hire, in my opinion. It was something I've been talking about for a long time, and I wrote a lot about it, and people can see what I wrote about it. It's all on my social media publicly. I am very happy with the hire. I just find it interesting, and maybe Syracuse can say it this way, is, hey, we looked outside the Boeheim tree. We looked inside the Boeheim tree. We did our due diligence on both. We looked at these guys. We looked at Gerry. We took Gerry. But at least they can tell the fan base, we did both. We didn't just go straight for Gerry. We went and looked outside, inside, and ultimately decided on Gerry. But from what I'm understanding, the coaches that they looked at backed away. So that's... that's where we are. And Brian Hodgson took the Providence job, and then, the St. Louis Billikens got an extension with Josh Schertz, and now Gerry McNamara is the head coach. I think it's the right move. Like I said, I've supported it. I've been about it for a long time. I thought it was the right place for them to go to, logical and rational. So I'm happy they did it. In the East, this is how things look. So Michigan State, they won, UCLA won, and UConn won. This is a recap of the round of 64 and round of 32 en route to where we are in the Sweet 16 as a prelude to the Sweet 16, which is happening for those of you watching and listening live this Thursday, March 26th, as it's Wednesday, March 25th. So from the Duke TCU, we saw that Duke moved on to the Sweet 16. And then from St. John's in Kansas, St. John's was up by 14 points, but
buzzer beater.
They had to make it interesting. Yeah, and Rick Pitino, my dad goes, look at him. He's like, they hit the game-winning shot. Dude walks off the court like he knew it was going to happen. I said, Dad.
No reaction.
Yeah.
It was like almost like, oh, that's good. He gave like a thumbs up and then walked away. Yeah.
I told my dad, I go, the kingpin, he doesn't show emotion. And so, but he did show emotion with his players if you go and watch other angles of it. Now, Louisville went up against Michigan State. Michigan State got the victory. And then we had UCLA go up against UConn, and UConn got the victory. So the four that have come out of the East region that make up a quarter of the Sweet 16 are Duke, St. John's, Michigan State, and UConn as we recap the East. I can tell you that
I have all four of those teams in that bracket. I have all four from the East to left.
I was going to say that. If you look at this wonderful bracket here, you can see that, oops, that's the wrong side. So if you look at my bracket here, you can see that I have Duke as well as St. John's, Michigan State, and UConn. So Ross and I both have 4 for 4 in the East bracket, which brings me to the West side of things. And in the West, Arizona, the number 1 seed, defeated Long Island University. So Arizona wins that. Utah State defeated Villanova. Wisconsin lost to High Point. I tell you guys all the time, if I go for Wisconsin, they lose. If I don't go for them, they win. So I only went for them for one game. That was my trick. That was my way to get them. I got them with the okey doke. I was like, I'm going to get you for one so that you can't screw me for 2 or 3. But, they ended up losing. Arkansas, they moved forward. And then Texas, who's come out of nowhere, won the play-in game against NC State. Then they will go on to beat BYU, and we'll talk about what happens here as we go forward here. But Texas defeats NC State in the play-in game, defeats BYU as the 11th seed. The Zags defeated Kennesaw State, Miami over Missouri, and then Purdue defeated Queens, which led us to Arizona and Utah State. Arizona made it out of there. And then we had High Point versus Arkansas.
They almost off that upset, High Point.
Yeah. Arkansas gets the win there, and then Texas and Gonzaga. Texas wins. So Texas has won 3 games in a row, including their play-in game, and beat and messed up my bracket in their defeat of Gonzaga, and Purdue won. So the 4 that are coming out of the West region, Arizona, Arkansas, Texas, and Purdue, which I can tell you that I'm very proud to have 3 of. However,
I have 3 out of the 4. My main one that got wrong is I had Gonzaga winning. I originally had BYU beating Texas, and then Gonzaga beating them gets Sweet 16. But of course, Texas keeps winning. But I thought Gonzaga was going to win. But yeah, the Zags and Mark Hughes had a great run, and they're about to go to a bigger conference next season. But they are not going back to the Final Four and another year without a national title. But Gonzaga, I was surprised that Texas was able to pull off the upset the other night against them.
I think Gonzaga had a run of making 9 straight Sweet 16s. And so it was 9 or 10. So this year they don't. So my bracket, looking pretty here, except for the fact that Gonzaga is a team that I had continuing to move forward. So I got 3 of the 4. I got Arizona, I got Arkansas.
Gonzaga, did you have them losing to Houston in the national championship game?
Yeah, so I had Gonzaga going through here. So Arizona, who I'm not 100% sold on, but I'm getting more sold on. Arkansas, who I think could beat Arizona. I had the Zags and I had Purdue. So I have 3 of 4 in the West bracket, which is beautiful, except for the fact that of the 3 of 4 that I have, Gonzaga continued to move down my line. So the only one I'm missing is the one that I needed, which that's where the frustration comes in. Could have picked Arizona, could have picked Arkansas. If you're asking me feet to the fire right now, who's going to make it out of this West bracket, I think it's going to be Arizona or Arkansas.
Yeah, I have Arkansas. I have that it's going to be Arkansas knocking off Arizona in the Sweet 16. I think that, yeah, I agree with you. Whoever wins that matchup, I think will get out of this bracket. But I think Arkansas and John Calipari, they have that mojo working. They did it last year. They had a nice run when they knocked off Patino and St. John's in an upset. I think Arkansas is going to keep surprising people, and they're going to get all the way to the Final Four. So, yeah, it should be interesting to see. But, yeah, I know Charles Barkley, though. He's very high on Arizona. He thinks that they're the best team in the bracket in the whole tournament. He said it's Arizona versus everyone else of the other 67 teams in the field of 68. He's very high on Arizona winning it all, but we'll see. I'm still like you. I'm hesitant about Arizona. Like, I think they're good, but I don't. I think usually people complain that they're a softer team. They're not very physical compared to the Big Ten and Big East schools. I want to see what they can do against a bigger, more physical opponent and see if they can still stack up against them.
Yeah, that's the thing with Arizona. I wasn't sold on them last year when they were a high seed, and I was like, I can't justify it, and they ended up losing early. So the Arizona Wildcats, to me, we'll see, but, if Arkansas does it, then now we're talking about John Calipari still being relevant here in the world of NIL and the transfer portal. We talk about Gino Ariema doing it on the UConn side.
Just like Rick Pitino's doing it at St. John's.
Yeah, Rick Pitino at St. John's. The usual suspects finding their way back. Let's go to the Midwest and take a look about how the Midwest has been won so far. So as we look at this Midwest bracket that is led by the number 1 seeded Michigan, this is how it all shook out. So Howard won the play-in game over UMBC, and then Michigan defeated Howard. From there, the St. Louis Billikens defeated a team that I didn't think should be in the tournament, which was Georgia. And then we saw going into this bracket, after Michigan and St. Louis getting the victories, we saw Texas Tech over Akron, and Alabama found their way over Hofstra, which calls the state of New York home. And then Miami of Ohio got their first quality win of the season, quad 1, if you will. But they got beat by Tennessee, and then Virginia beat Wright State. Kentucky Santa Clara went to overtime. Shout out to Santa Clara, who will look to lead the West Coast Conference with St. Mary's next year, with Gonzaga leaving. So Kentucky gets that.
How Kentucky won that game. They had hit a three-pointer, Santa Clara. It looks with like 2.6 seconds to go. It looked like it was game over. The star player in Kentucky, did a bank shot three-pointer from like half court and somehow went in to save their season. And then in overtime, Santa Clara ran out of gas. Kentucky won. But that was a thrilling finish to the game. I thought for a second that Santa Clara had that game. You're up by 3. You hit a big three-pointer with a little over 2 seconds to go. You should win that game. Who would have thought the guy would call bank and the bank would be open, and he hit a nice bank shot three-pointer to save their season, at least until round 2 for Kentucky.
Yeah, Kentucky getting the win 89-84 over Santa Clara, the 7-10 matchup, which was a hard one for me to pick and definitely did not disappoint. Iowa State got the victory over Tennessee State. So the Midwest continues on here with Michigan facing off against Alabama. Michigan going up against St. Louis. Michigan found their victory there, which led to Josh Schertz talking with Syracuse from my sources, and then ultimately extending with St. Louis. And then after that, we saw that Tennessee and Virginia went up against each other. Or pardon me, let me go back to this one. So Alabama going up against Texas Tech. We saw Alabama get the victory. And then after the Alabama matchup here, so Michigan and Alabama setting themselves up, we saw Tennessee over Virginia and Iowa State over Kentucky. So we have Tennessee here, and we have Iowa State. I still think Iowa State, my gut has told me that they're a dangerous team in this bracket and in this tournament. So the Midwest, therefore, are Michigan, Alabama, Tennessee, and Iowa State. So as we bring this up and show this to you on the screen, I can tell you that I have 3 of these 4, Michigan, Alabama, and Iowa State. The other one I had was Virginia, but my bracket is clean. As we go forward from here, as you can see it, my bracket is not affected by the fact that the only team that I'm missing is Virginia, because I had Iowa State winning that game.
I had 2 out of 4. I had Michigan and Alabama advancing. I thought Tennessee was going to get tripped up by Virginia, but Virginia ended up winning that, so I got Virginia wrong, like you. But I also wasn't fully sold on Iowa State, which you were with the Cyclones. I thought Kentucky, after beating St. Clair, was going to beat Iowa State, but that didn't happen. So the bottom of my Midwest bracket is wrong. I had Virginia taking on Kentucky in the Sweet 16, and now we know it's Tennessee versus Iowa State. So Michigan, Alabama, which is usually known for a big-time football showdown, they'll face off the Sweet 16. Have that correct, but I did not have Tennessee and Iowa State. So not the end of the world because I still, like I said, my Final Four is intact. But that bracket was the one I probably messed up the most with the Midwest one. The other ones I usually got at least 3 out of the 4 with.
Yeah. So, I mean, 4 out of 4 for me in the East, 3 out of 4 for me in the West, 3 out of 4 for me in the Midwest, and I saved the worst for last. So here we go with the South bracket. In the South
defended champions are no more. We'll have a new national champion crowned this season. Them and their big 7'9" center, they're out of the tournament. That was a shocker to me.
Yeah, color me not surprised. I did not have Florida repeating this year, and I considered taking them out in the second round with them going. I had Florida Clemson, and Clemson, I had originally thought, I didn't put it on this official bracket here, but I originally thought that the winner of Clemson Iowa would upend Florida, which actually ended up happening.
The Hawkeyes.
I just thought Clemson, but the Hawkeyes did it. So Florida gets the victory here, and Prairie View A&M was the one that won the play-in game that went up against Florida. Florida won that game. Iowa defeated Clemson, and then we had from there in the bracket taking a look at the rest of the South bracket. Vanderbilt defeated McNeese, and Nebraska got their first win ever in the NCAA tournament for men's basketball. They were 0-8 coming into this tournament, which I couldn't believe 2 things. 1, that they had never won a game. 2, that they had only played 8 games in the NCAA tournament. I had them losing to Troy. Troy had a valiant effort. Troy's coach, who I interviewed after the game, Scott Cross, is now the head coach of Georgia Tech, which means I'm going to be spending a lot more time with Scott Cross. So that was kind of ironic and fun. But
it's kind of sad. He replaces a guy I know that you looked up to a lot growing up, Damon Stoudemire Jr., the NBA player, was coaching at Georgia Tech the last few years. He's been now replaced as their head coach.
Yeah, Damon Stoudemire there for a few seasons, and they let him go, I think, too soon. But Nebraska defeats Troy, and Georgia Tech gets a new head coach out of it. Nebraska gets their first win. They
got 2 wins now. You're about to mention it, but now they went from no wins for being around for over 100 years as a basketball program and somehow only playing 8 games. That's nuts. They've only played 8 games, but now they've won back-to-back. So Nebraska Cornhuskers, not just a football school anymore. They actually can play some b-ball, and I'm very impressed with them in this tournament.
Yeah, doing a heck of a job, Nebraska is. North Kakalaki, they didn't win their game. I had VCU winning this. VCU won it in overtime. I leaned on VCU after this game. I spoke with Hubert Davis of North Carolina.
Unfortunately,
and he, the feeling at the ACC tournament was that potentially things weren't going well in North Carolina. They lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament, and they part ways with Hubert Davis after 5 seasons, which I'm not a big fan of because I like Hubert. And I've gotten to talk with him on and off the air, and he's actually been really nice to me. So, I mean, in the media, the questions that they asked him, he was giving short answers, and I feel like they'd be, oh, you look at him with attitude. I'm like, you asked him if his team was tired. You asked him if his team was fatigued. I mean, you asked him stupid questions. I mean, you asked him stupid questions. I mean, those are stupid questions. What coach is going to go, yeah, you know what? My team just, we were just tired. We're Division I basketball players, but in the last 5 minutes, we were sleepy. I mean,
I was just shocked. They had a big lead in that game against VCU, and I was worried. I was about to pick VCU because they pulled off a lot of upsets in the past. Back, what was it, Shaka Smart when he was their coach. But yeah, North Carolina looked like that game was over. They were going to win that game easily. But it was like like Friday the 13th, Jason. He's alive in those horror movies. They came back from the dead, and they were able to knock off North Carolina. I thought North Carolina had that game, and it was a bad loss. But no, I agree with you. Some of the questions they ask are a little ridiculous, and like It is what it is. They should be able to take care of business, but VCU, give them the credit, and North Carolina, they probably, they took their foot off the gas a little bit, thinking it was over, and that you let that happen in the tournament, these teams can sneak up behind you and get you. So that's what kind of ended up happening. It was a tough loss, and after 5 years, unfortunately, he ended up losing his job because he had a good run with them, but there's so much pressure with all the NIL money and all the money they spent on these rosters. They were complaining about Kentucky, that they only made one round of the tournament, and I think they spent $22 million allegedly on their roster this year. So this is allowed now in 2026. You can spend millions and millions of dollars on a roster like you're a pro team, but that's the college sports world landscape we live in. But yeah, VCU got it done. I should have went with the VCU pick because they seem to be always a tough one in the tournament, but North Carolina ended up getting tripped up by them.
Yeah, I mean, VCU, they're a team that was dangerous with Shaka Smart back in the day, and that's how I got to know VCU first. That's why I have a VCU hat. And I got to meet Shaka. I've interviewed Shaka, and I appreciate my time with him for sure. Having VCU in this game was bittersweet for me because it was a really tough game to pick, and I was watching it the Wildcat with Isaac, and I was like, hey, look at this. I mean, this is why it was a tough game. Kentucky, Santa Clara, VCU, North Carolina. The games, some of these games that I really sat with and I had difficulty picking, they ended up being the overtime games. They ended up being the close games. And, I even with Siena, I was like, it's not fair that they were put where they were put. Now they played incredibly, I think, they played above and beyond what I thought we were going to see, and I'm proud of it. But VCU, just an awesome job, really great work, and proud to see them in the tournament, proud to see them win the A-10, proud to see them do what they did. But, sad on the other side for Hubert and just what he's gone through. I feel like he knew it. It's the way he, because Hubert, I've been in a lot of rooms with him, and the presence that he brought prior to this season was different than how it felt this season. It almost felt like a frustration. It almost felt like he got to the point where it was enough. And so I hope the best for him, and I hope the best for North Carolina.
Other opportunities if he wants it. He was successful there, but the hot seat and the pressure and the harsh spotlight of the media there. And they expect national championships at North Carolina when they had Dean Smith as coach and Roy Williams and Michael Jordan back in the day and all these other great players. There's so much pressure, and if you're not constantly competing for championships, it's considered a failure. So losing in the round one and blowing a lead to VCU in the tournament in the first round, it's not considered good enough. And with that kind of pressure now and all the money they spend, unfortunately, you're going to lose your job. So it might have been that eventually being on the hot seat and realizing that if we don't make a run at a title this year, my job might be over. That might have finally gotten to him a little bit.
Yeah, there was just a different feeling in the room, and I didn't like it for him. So yeah. I hope that he finds. I mean, I endured seeing that with him, and I endured seeing that with Adrian Autry at Syracuse, and I just want to.
That was so. I know you were in those rooms. It seemed like it was a done deal pretty early in the year when they were struggling in Syracuse that Autry was not coming back, and I'm sure that was tough for him as he tried to put on a brave face and answer those questions from the media. When you realize that people are kind of after you a little bit and saying pretty much you're gone and you still have to coach the rest of the season and care for your players, and they're already trying to move on and they got the pitchforks out. And that's tough for any coach to have to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, I know these coaches as people, and most of the people that scream and yell and rant and rave, they don't know these people. And so I see Hubert differently. I see Adrian differently.
But I think what you're saying is important. I think a lot of people don't think of that. These are actual people. They have families. They got a wife. They got kids. They got grandkids. Some of them. They care about these players like they're their own kids. You're more of a family at times with your own players than you are sometimes with your family your actual family during the season because you spend so much time coaching them at practice, road trips, bus trips, plane trips for these big D1 schools. And you recruited a lot of these kids. You have such close relationships and you're with them day in, day out, hours and hours a day. When you maybe, if you're lucky, you can see your family maybe at dinner time, maybe an hour or two a day with school and work and all that crazy stuff. So these people mean a lot to them. These players mean a lot to them. And they're people. And they go through things that I'm sure there's sadness, there's things they're going through in life that no one knows about what anyone's going through in life. We talked about that last week when we were on the air. Be kind to people, but people just and I've been a coach in the past, so I feel for coaches. I feel for players because I've been a player. I've been a coach. I feel for both sides of this. But people kind of look at these guys like they're robots, and they can handle as nasty as people might be to them. Sometimes the media can, they have a job to ask questions and fair questions. That's 100%. I'm with the media at times as well. But also you have to respect these coaches because they are people, and they also are going through emotions, and you should not just treat them like robots that you're going to just like throw things at them and say, why are you, doing such a crappy job coaching? I'm sure that's not their goal, and they would love to keep their jobs. And when they don't feel that job security, I'm sure that also hurts things and probably makes a lot of uneasiness at home with their family when they don't know if they'll be in this place a few months from now. They might be looking for a new job, and their assistant coaches might be looking for a new job soon because all those people have families and people they have to provide for and take care of and make money for, and their whole lives might be upended if they lose their coaching job. So just keep that in mind. You have a right to ask questions. You have a right to be critical, but you also should do it in a respectful manner because these are people who generally care about their programs and their players, and people should not treat them like garbage.
Yeah. So, I mean, and to those sentiments, I mean, I deal with that. I see it and I experience it. And, I mean, I've actually come out and said this, and I mean it. If you boo Gerry McNamara in the Dome, I want you to put your house up for sale, and I want you to leave.
But it's going to happen though. Like right now,
but I want you to leave. I want you to leave. He won a national. He won a national championship. He helped guide other Syracuse players as an assistant coach to the NCAA tournament. He was a part of great runs for Syracuse as a player.
2000 Big East run.
Yeah, and as an assistant coach, won back-to-back Big East titles, won a national championship. He was a champion 3 out of 4 seasons that he was at Syracuse, and he's gone on to be an assistant coach at Syracuse, have success. He has worked with some of Syracuse's best point guards of recent history and guards in general in recent history. And on top of that, he went to Siena, who was 4-28 the season before he got there, went 14-18, then went 23-12, won the MAAC, went to the NCAA tournament, went up against top overall seed Duke, and almost upended Duke in that game where John Shire said repeatedly that he was outcoached by Gerry McNamara. So, I mean it. If you boo Gerry in the Dome, put your house up for sale and get out of my city. Because I'm done. I'm just done. I'm done with it. I'm done with seeing it. I'm done with the hate. I'm done with the negativity. I'm done with the F this and F that. Like the student section at Syracuse was chanting F you Boeheim, but not the F. During a game. And I was like, listen, you 18-year-old no mind. You weren't even alive.
And I think a lot of Syracuse basketball fans miss Boeheim now because you took him for granted for all the years he was there, for like the 40-plus years. All the championships, the one national title, multiple times in the national championship game, all the Final Fours, all the Sweet 16s, all the perennial success every year that they were doing. They were a juggernaut in basketball, especially when the Big East was king. And those great tournament games, including the 6 overtime game in 2009, 17 years ago, that they beat UConn. You miss Boeheim. You complained about towards the end when they were struggling. I bet you a lot of basketball fans miss Boeheim with all the success they had. You took it for granted, and it might be never, or it might take a long time to get back to where they were with how tough it is to recruit in college basketball and all the money now with NIL you have to spend. You took them for granted, and now you miss them. And I'm telling you, I agree with what you're saying, but people will. He will have the fan base's full support to start. Opening night, I'm sure the crowd will be raucous. You're going to get a lot of like this. What used to have the big bus trips from Scranton to Syracuse to go visit to see him coach, like when he used to play at Syracuse in the early 2000s. A lot of Scranton people, I remember they would have loaded up by my high school, would become filling up on Saturday mornings to go check out a Syracuse game to see GMac. But if they start to struggle, and it might happen because the ACC is a very tough basketball conference, they start struggling against the Dukes and the North Carolinas and those powerhouses, they're going to probably turn on him. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully he can get them to be successful pretty quickly and have patience. This is not a one-year thing. Hopefully in 2 or 3 years he could build them up like he did in a smaller sense with Siena, and he could do it on the bigger stage with Syracuse and the ACC. But I hope that 3-4 games in a year they start struggling. It doesn't start getting super negative like it did with Coach Autry, and they're ready to throw GMac out of Syracuse, because that's ridiculous. And I know that's mostly just a few fans who will be like that, and people who are nasty on social media, the trolls on social media. But I'm like, if you're ready to turn on GMac if they struggle after maybe half of a season, you're not a real fan, and that's ridiculous. Like, he's beloved in Syracuse. He might struggle, and at some point, if it goes bad, he might have to get fired. That's part of the job, unfortunately. You get a lot of coaches say you get hired to get fired. You either retire and you get to go out on your own terms, which is the best case scenario, go out as a champion, or you're getting older, you decide to retire and be with your family and spend more time with them, or you coach, you do well, but you start to struggle and you might lose your job and go elsewhere. Hopefully, GMac is in his early 40s. I think he's born in '83. He gets to coach the next 20 plus years at Syracuse, and a great run, and and we're with him for 2 decades plus. But it might not be that way. But I'm hoping the fans give him some time, be patient, and don't just love him on opening night. Support him throughout, and his Syracuse players throughout the season, and do not turn on him after a few games, because if they do that, you're being ridiculous and you're not a real fan, because it takes time, and you can be critical, but you also have to be fair, and don't just love him on day one. And if they're not 10-0, you start to turn on him that quick.
Yeah, I mean, again, just leave. I mean, I've had.
You're going to see it happen, though, unfortunately.
Yeah. But the thing is I've had enough of it. I've had enough of it. I've had enough of, I hate Jim Boeheim. Well, people all around the country and the world know Syracuse, New York because of Jim Boeheim.
Here's the whole thing.
So I was spoiled to speak with Jim for 13 years and know his sons, who I also talk with Jimmy and Buddy. I mean, over 1,100 wins, second only to Coach K, made a Final Four in 4 straight decades, made 5 Final Fours, was a national runner-up multiple times in the championship game, won a national championship. All of the things I just said, most coaches won't even sniff 700 wins. He had 1,100 plus. Most coaches will never make it to a lot of coaches will never make it to the NCAA tournament. There's schools that have never made it to the NCAA tournament. He made it consistently. 20 to 25 wins was normal. He has won a Big East title, which is one of the most difficult things to do. He's won multiple. He has won a national championship, which some teams will never play in the tournament, let alone get to the round of 32, Sweet 16, Elite 8, or Final Four, or championship game. He made it to numerous championship games. So, I mean, yeah, do I agree with every move he's made? No. Do I think he's been stubborn at times? Yes. But people forget you are a victim of your own success. And Syracuse fans got used to 20 to 25 wins, got used to going to the tournament every year, got used to the Sweet 16. So they want to look at Boeheim and go, man, the last couple of seasons, you didn't this and you didn't that and you didn't. But in the COVID year, folks, Syracuse beat North Carolina in the ACC tournament. In the COVID year, Syracuse is probably going to be an at-large bid into the NCAA tournament. So that year, he would have had. And I just look back at his history, his success, 47 seasons. Would he not make the tournament 9 times or something like that? So it's like, if you look at what Jim has done versus what put 10 coaches together and what they've done, there's coaches that have never sniffed the NCAA tournament. Cal Baptist, they got in the tournament this year. Never saw their name before, did you? Queens, never saw their name before, did you? They were a D2 school 4 years ago. Like, there's schools that are just finally making it where Jim Boeheim was used to making it, used to doing it, used to being there. I can't fathom how people look at arguably him, Ben Schwartzwalder, Coach Mac. I mean, there's certain people that should always be on the list. And Jim's one of those people. So if people want to hate on Jim Boeheim, people are going to do what they do, right? That happens. People are going to do what they do. But the education of it all is, if you don't see the value in Jim Boeheim and you don't see what he's done for the city of Syracuse, not just the school and the men's basketball team, then you don't understand what's been going on for many, many years. And that's okay, because haters are going to hate. And that's how life is. But Gerry McNamara, support him, be there for him. I've said this forever and a day. These coaches and players get booed when they go away from home. Do not let them come home and get booed. They get booed in Cameron Indoor. They get booed in North Carolina. They get booed in Winston-Salem. They get booed all over the place. Do not boo your own team when they're in. Trevor Cooney got booed because he didn't hit enough threes. I mean, the dude hit 300 more threes than everybody else in that dome. So, I mean, outside of Gerry. So, I mean, it's just...
Hey, there are Yankee fans who sometimes boo Aaron Judge. If he doesn't get a clutch hit, even though he hits 50 to 60 home runs a year and is a future Hall of Famer, hasn't won a World Series yet, he might struggle in a big spot, they start booing him. So, if Yankee fans, and I'm a big Yankee fan, I would never boo him. If people are stupid enough to boo an Aaron Judge, they're going to boo even a college kid who's 18 years old who might miss a three-pointer in a big spot, and they're just going to be buffoons when they do that, because you look stupid when you do that. Support your players, be a fan, you can be critical, but be smart about it and don't attack your own players, especially players who have track records who've done great work over the years, and you're going to just boo them because you're annoyed that they missed a big shot. That's ridiculous, but that's the state that we live in now. That's why they say that they have a hard time getting people who want to sign up to be referees and umpires in youth sports and even collegiately in high school, because a lot of parents are on them, the coaches are on them, and they're like, well, I don't want to deal with this nonsense because how toxic the environment is. And so, unfortunately, you see it all the time when you cover sports and when you cover Syracuse. And we talked about that off air even a little bit. Like, you're going to have to deal with that. And, you're either going to speak up or you're just going to, watch it happen and say, this is ridiculous. And it's so it's unfortunate. I wish him the very best of luck. And I hope it all works out. I know the people in the Scranton area, and I live not far from Scranton. I lived there for 15 years. They're very excited about it, so we're pumped for that. And I'm also pumped, as a segue, that St. John's is still in it, because they almost blew that game to Kansas, and they are my national champion pick. And that almost went down the tubes. But they're going to take on Duke on Friday night in Washington, D.C., and that's going to be a hell of a matchup. I'm curious about that one and where you think that's going to go.
Yeah, and Ross and I are going to talk about where things are stacked up right after we go to the West really quick here and let you know.
Oh, yeah, we didn't finish with
the South,
we talked about Florida getting knocked out and Iowa still involved and Nebraska still in.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we started talking about because North Carolina got knocked out and about Hubert Davis. That's where we got sidetracked about that.
So Illinois wins the game. They go up to face VCU. St. Mary's made a run late, but Texas A&M got the win, and Houston. And so Florida going up against Iowa. Iowa gets the victory. Some people might have thought I was crazy that they were going to lose Florida in the round of 32. I had considered putting Clemson over them, and the winner of Clemson-Iowa did end up winning it. So even though I didn't have the team right, I did have the round right, and I did have that matchup that Florida would lose in the second round there. Didn't put it in my bracket ultimately, but that was something that I looked at. I said, all right, Clemson-Iowa, do I think that whoever wins this game can knock off Florida? And I thought it could happen. Shout outs to Iowa. They did it. I was wrong.
How about how that game ended? Because it reminded me almost like the national championship game last year when Florida beat Houston at the end, a close game. Houston couldn't get a shot off. Florida Gators, defending national champions. They're in a tough battle with Iowa. They're coming back to because Iowa at times had a bigger lead. They couldn't get a shot off at the very end of the game. They ended up losing without even being able to take a last-second shot to tie or win the game. I was surprised by that, but it almost it's like karma, because they won the national title when Houston could get a final shot off last year, and now Florida ends up getting eliminated and knocked out, dethroned as champions, can't get the final shot off to win that game against Iowa. So it kind of was karma how those two seasons have bookended themselves, not getting that final shot off.
Yeah, so I mean,
the good and the bad.
Iowa getting the victory and moving forward here. And then Vanderbilt going up against Nebraska. I thought Vanderbilt and Florida might have a rematch here. This is what I had in my bracket, but Nebraska wins by 2, 74-72. So like Ross said, the team that went 0-8 in the NCAA tournament for men's basketball Division I has now gone 2-0 since getting to the Sweet 16. And then VCU up against the Bring in the Illinois. Illinois wins the game by 21 points in the matchup. And Houston upends Texas A&M. They said, I see your 21, Illinois. And they won by 31 points over Texas A&M, which has set up the Illinois matchup going up against Houston. So the 4 that make it in the final that we have to talk about here that are going to the Sweet 16 of the South region. Raise your hand if you had this, folks. Probably a lot of you didn't. Iowa, Nebraska, Illinois, Houston. I will tell you this. I have one of them, but the one that I have, this was my worst bracket. I went 4 of 4 in the East, like I said. 3 of 4.
Oh, you had Houston no matter what, like from the draft day movie.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I had 4 of 4 in the East, 4 of 4 in the, or 3 of 4 in the West, 3 of 4 in the Midwest. In the South, I have 1 of 4. But it's Houston no matter what. So, Houston, I need you to make it out of this thing because you are the only team, ironically, you are the only team that I have alive in my bracket here. As you look at the South, the only one is Houston. VCU was wrong. Vanderbilt was wrong. Florida was wrong. So, Houston, I need you to not give me a problem and move forward.
I got 2 of the 4 right. I'll give myself credit. I got Nebraska win their first game finally in NCAA tournament history, beating Troy. I had them beating Vanderbilt in round 2, so I had Nebraska right and I had Houston right because I had Houston beating Texas A&M in the second round against the Sweet 16. I had Iowa beating Clemson. I did not have Iowa beating Florida. I thought Florida would get the throne, but not until the Elite Eight against Houston, a rematch of the national championship game from last year. I thought they'd get to the Elite Eight, almost the Final Four, but Iowa beat Florida. Didn't have that. And, the North Carolina, I picked originally, I went crazy. I went with Penn, the Ivy League school, to knock off Illinois. That didn't happen. They got blown out. And then I had North Carolina knocking off Illinois to get Sweet 16. As we know, North Carolina got knocked out in the first round by VCU, which I almost picked VCU. So I didn't have Illinois, and I didn't have Iowa going this far, but I have Nebraska and I have Houston, and that's kind of interesting. Big Ten matchup. As you usually would know for football, you got the Nebraska Cornhuskers and the Iowa Hawkeyes. Not a football matchup on the gridiron. You got them on a basketball court for the right to go to the Elite Eight this weekend. So who would have thunk that? Maybe one of these teams can find a way to upend Houston and get to the Final Four. So. We'll see what happens. I got 2 of 4 from the South bracket. I got all 4 right in the East bracket for the Sweet 16. I got 3 of 4 in the West, and then I have 2 of 4 in the Midwest of my bracket.
Yeah, so not looking too shabby as we are 100% in the East, and I'm 75 in the West, 75 in the Midwest, 25% in the South. However, that's my darling.
You got your champion.
That's so my darling.
Win the championship, Houston, no matter what, it's a pretty successful prediction season for you.
So let's go, Houston. We'll take a quick step aside for a fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. When we come back, now that we've brought you through the drive, proudly presented exclusively by Great Lakes Honda City, we have shown you what's going on, who made it through the round of 64, round of 32 to set up the Sweet 16. Ross and I will be picking the winners of the Sweet 16 matchups right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. The drive is here on Wake Up Call. Stay with us. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily, and we bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant is different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG cards and breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. Canine Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that Canine Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making Canine Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry loving friend. Right, Lily? In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Ross and I, with a couple minutes here before Tyus Battle comes into the show. So excited to talk with Tyus about the hire of Gerry McNamara as the head coach of the Syracuse Orange men's basketball program. And of course, happy to talk with Ross here about the picks. So Ross, let's go to it. We'll start in the East. These are the four we got. What do you think? So Duke, St. John's, Michigan State, UConn. I'll let everybody know here. This is how it stacks up. These games will be played on Friday, March 27th. St. John's will take on Duke at 7:10 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. Michigan State will follow against UConn at 9:45 p.m. Eastern Time, also on CBS. What do you got? I know you and I both picked this bracket. Are you going to stay with what you got? What are your thoughts?
I told you I have my sheet of integrity, my one bracket. I don't do 20 brackets in many different bracket tournament challenges. I'm old school, and so is Stitchy. He does one. We're man by our word, and we're going to keep it that way, just like the Joker in The Dark Knight. I'm a man of my word. I'm going with St. John's, the Kingpin himself. Speaking of that, watch the new season of Daredevil with Kingpin and everything. That came out yesterday on Disney Plus, but we're very excited about that. But St. John's, I'm going to have them beating Duke. Rick Pitino, what a turnaround in his just like 3 seasons at St. John's. He does this everywhere. Now he's been in the Sweet 16 in the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, the aughts, the teens, now the 20s, and he's done it with, I think, 5 different programs. So what he's been able to do in the college game is miraculous, and I think he's going to continue to do that. St. John's, they were able to go on a great run, knock off UConn in the Big East tournament at the Garden in New York a couple of weeks ago. I think they're ready. They're prepared. A lot of people are going to pick Duke here. Remember, as you said earlier, GMac had only 5 guys in his rotation, and they weren't gassed by the end of that game and exhausted. They almost shocked the basketball world and knocked off Duke in round 1, and then Duke beat TCU. But I think St. John's is ready. They're physical. Hopefully they don't put their foot off the gas because they almost blew that game against Kansas and luckily won on that buzzer beater layup. But I think St. John's will beat Duke in a close basketball game. St. John's, I think, wins by about 4 points. They knock off Duke to go to the Elite Eight. And then in another matchup of great coaches, Tom Izzo, Michigan State, they're in the Sweet 16 and deep runs every year in the tournament. They take on Dan Hurley and UConn, and I know Dan Hurley rubs people the wrong way sometimes. If he's your coach, you love him because of the bravado, the cockiness. But a lot of people who don't have him as their coach, they hate his guts because they think he's so cocky. But I think UConn it's going to be a physical bloodbath, hardcore matchup here, very physical out there. But I think UConn is going to edge Michigan State by a couple of points. And I'm going to have UConn beat Michigan State and then taking on St. John's in the round of 8 to go to the Final Four after St. John's beats Duke and UConn beats Michigan State. Those are my picks.
Yeah, you said keeping with integrity. I have all 4 of these, and I chose Duke over St. John's, as hard as that was for me to do. And I chose UConn to upend Michigan State. So I love this Final Four of the East bracket. I'm going Duke and UConn. That's what I had. That's what I stick with. But my heart wants St. John's UConn. No offense to Duke. I just want St. John's to find their way to the
I want the rematch. They've had some hardcore matchups and crazy battles this season, including in that Big East Championship game where I thought St. John's could win, but close. St. John's blew them out by over 20 points at the Garden. So that's my pick. I think St. John's is going to have another rematch. Round number 4. It's like a Rocky versus Apollo Creed matchup. I think it's going to be St. John's and UConn in the Elite Eight.
Yeah, so I'll be excited to see this either way. Those games are going to be on Friday, March 27th, mind you. In the West region, we have Arizona, Arkansas, Texas, and Purdue. And so these games are going to be played on Thursday, March 26th. And so Texas and Purdue will start off the night at 7:10 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS. Arkansas and Arizona will follow on CBS at 9:45 p.m. Eastern Time. What do you got, Ross?
All right. Well, I have Purdue beating Texas. Texas had a great run. They've won 3 games. NC State beat BYU, shocked the world, beat Gonzaga. But I think Purdue, who's lost some tough games in the tournament, including being one of those number 1 seeds that got eliminated by a 16th seed a few seasons ago. But Purdue, I think this is their 3rd year in a row going to the Sweet 16. I think Purdue is ready. They're battle tested. Texas had a great run, but I think that Cinderella glass slipper will finally shatter against the Longhorns. And I think Purdue will move on to the round of 8. And then on the other side, big-time matchup. And as we said earlier, whoever wins this game is probably going to come out of the West bracket into the Final Four. But I'm going with an upset. I'm going with Arkansas, the 4 seed, and John Calipari, who won the SEC championship, won their first 2 games in this tournament against Hawaii and Cinderella High Point. I think they knock off Arizona. Charles Barkley thinks Arizona is the best team in the tournament. Wildcats are a great team, but I still question how tough they are physically. And I think Arkansas is going to be a really nitty-gritty game. And I think Arkansas is going to edge them out by a few points. I'm going with Arkansas or Kansas to go to the Elite Eight, and they'll take on Purdue in the round of 8.
Yeah, I could very well see Arkansas and Purdue. Keeping with my bracket, I had Arizona over Arkansas, so I'm riding with Arizona. But this is a game that I circled when we were first picking, that Arizona Arkansas can go either way. I've thought this since before any of the games were played in 64 or 32. So I very firmly believe this could be either or. I think the winner of Arkansas and Arizona is going to the Final Four. I had Gonzaga over Purdue. So I'll keep with, and I'll say Purdue here as my Gonzaga's out of it. So to make a pick, I'll say Purdue because I believe that they will upend Texas. If I get it wrong, then Texas, I'm 0 for 4 on you, but we'll see what happens here. Let's go quickly to the Midwest region. We have Michigan, Alabama, Tennessee, and Iowa State. Ross, who do you have that you're going to be picking to come out of the Midwest region? Keep in mind, folks, this is how the Midwest goes. Michigan and Alabama, Tennessee and Iowa State. These games are going to be played on Friday, March 27th. So we have Alabama, Michigan, 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time on TBS and True TV, followed by at 10:10 p.m. Eastern Time, Tennessee and Iowa State on TBS and True TV. What do you got?
All right. Well, I'm going to keep going with Michigan Wolverines. The pizza boy from Barstool Sports Portnoy will be happy for his alma mater. Big Michigan homer. I still think they're one of the best teams in this tournament. And in the beginning, I have it's going to be St. John's versus Michigan in the national championship game with St. John's winning it all, cutting down the nets on April 6th, day after Easter. So I'm going to keep that going. I'm going to have Michigan win in their game over Alabama. Usually a big-time matchup on the gridiron in football, but this time on the court, I think Michigan knocks off the Alabama Crimson Tide to go to the Elite Eight. And then, as I said, I totally screwed up the bottom of this Midwest bracket because I had Virginia and Kentucky go to Sweet 16. That's not the matchup. Iowa State versus Tennessee. I think Iowa State, the Cyclones, who I've doubted throughout most of this tournament, besides when they would easily beat 15-seed Tennessee State in the first round, I think Iowa State beats another Tennessee school, this time the Tennessee Volunteers. I think Iowa State's the Cyclones are starting to make a believer out of me. I think Iowa State's going to win this game. But I'm still going to have Michigan knocking off Iowa State to go to the Final Four.
Yeah, so Ross having Iowa State here and Michigan to go forward. I had 3 of 4 coming into this, and the 2 that I have coming out of the Sweet 16 to the Elite 8 in my bracket are Michigan and Iowa State. So that is exactly who moves on for me, Michigan and Iowa State. Final bracket, the South, with Iowa, Nebraska, Illinois, and Houston, no matter what, in my opinion. So, Ross, give us yours. Iowa, Nebraska, Illinois, and Houston. I only have 1 of 4 of these correct, so I'm going to have to make a new pick. But what do you got?
Yeah, this is an interesting matchup. I thought Florida would still be involved as the defending national champions and all their dominant play. And then I thought, as I said earlier, I thought they were going to get tripped up by Houston in the rematch of the national title game in the Elite Eight to go to the Final Four. That's not the case. I'm going to go with Iowa, the Hawkeyes. I think they're rolling. I almost went with Texas on the West bracket to keep going because they've been rolling. But Iowa was able to upend the Clemson Tigers in round 1. Then they shocked the world, beat the Florida Gators in round 2. I think the Iowa Hawkeyes are legit, and it's a big-time Big Ten matchup. Nebraska winning their first 2 ever games in the tournament, so they're a great story as well. But I think this could be a physical, close game. They know each other well as a conference opponent in the Big Ten. I think Iowa's going to edge out Nebraska by a few points to go to the Elite Eight. And I think Iowa will take on the Houston Cougars. I think Kelvin Sampson, who's a man on a mission to get to the Final Four and win that national title, as you said, Houston no matter what, from the draft day. I think Houston's going to knock off the fight on Illini, Illinois, and it'll be Houston versus Iowa in the Elite Eight. But I'm still going to go with Houston to go to the Final Four out of that.
Yeah, I didn't have Iowa or Nebraska, but I'm going to agree with you that the Iowa Hawkeyes, I think they're going to make a run here to the Elite Eight. And as you know, I have Houston no matter what. So it's Iowa and Houston for me. With that being said,
I'm still keeping my Final Four picks. I'm still keeping St. John's at the East beating UConn. I'm still having Houston knocking off Iowa. I'm going to have Houston knocking off Iowa to go to the Final Four. I'm going to go with Arkansas to knock off Purdue to go to the Final Four. And I'll have Michigan knocking off Iowa State to go to the Final Four. So nothing has changed. Some of my picks are wrong. Some of them are right. My Final Four is still intact. I'm going to still go with St. John's and Houston in the Final Four and Arkansas and Michigan in the Final Four. And St. John's beating Michigan to win it all. I keep my sheet of integrity. And Stitchy approves of this message as we get ready for election.
Yeah, and my Final Four, I have 3 of 4 that are still alive. So Duke, as well as going with Iowa State, Houston. My Gonzaga is out, so we'll continue to see what happens as Ross and I bring you through the entire men's Division I NCAA basketball bracket here in 2026, proudly presented by Great Lakes Honda City. Once again, this is The Drive.
Buddy, I love it. I do it with anyone better than you, buddy. My partner in crime.
That's
so
right,
I love
brother.
it. Thanks for having me on, and keep your head up. Don't listen to any haters out there. Keep working hard. It will get noticed. It's appreciated. I appreciate you, buddy, and I love you, Ed. I haven't given you any Schwarzenegger yet, so I guess Stitchy says it's time for GMac. My dog just looked at me like, "Why am I screaming?" Haley's like, "What the hell's going on? Are we under attack?" GMac, take 2 gum in the morning is not a tumor. And things that nature. Hasta vista, baby. Watch the Predator Badlands on the Disney Plus. It's so beautiful. You got to watch it. And the Expendables movies. R.I.P. to the great Chuck Norris. We love him so much. Chuck Norris is such a badass. He's beating everyone up that doubts him even in heaven. That Chuck Norris is the greatest man alive. Him and Bruce Lee are having a kung fu battle up in heaven right now. We can't do it. Not later. Do it now. Do it now. Get to the chopper. Jingle of the bay. And one more time, Jeremy!
Coming from Ross Turetsky one more time, fellow broadcaster and writer and my brother. I love you, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me on, bud.
See you. Coming from Ross one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Stitch, where sports meets life. We appreciate y'all being here with us, and we're jumping right into my conversation with Tyus Battle. He's been patiently waiting in the queue, so we're bringing in Tyus here to discuss the move by Syracuse to bring in Gerry McNamara, a coach that he knows all too well, and he's in the queue right now. You can't see it. I have seen so many different hairstyles with Tyus Battle, but he's shaving it down like me now. I don't know what's going on. We're trying to be like each other. I don't know what happened here. So Tyus is here with me. We are here picture in picture. Mr. Tyus Battle. Man, I think he's still got some eligibility. I think Gerry needs to make a phone call. But Tyus, how are we doing today?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. And I mean, listen, we finally know. It was like unofficially official for a few days and whatnot, but we know for sure that Gerry McNamara is the new head coach of the Syracuse Orange. He obviously won a national championship with Syracuse in 2003. In 2005 and 6, he won back-to-back Big East titles with the team, and then he went on to be an assistant coach. That's how you cross paths with him. And then he went on to Siena to take a 4-28 team, turn it into 14-18, then 23-12, win the MAC, go to the NCAA tournament, and top overall seeded Duke almost got upended in a 6-point game, 71-65. So he's had a heck of a road, Tyus. What are your thoughts on him coming back to Syracuse?
I mean, I think there's no one more deserving than him. I mean, when people know GMac, they know he is a winner. He did at Syracuse, won a national championship, scored over 2,000 points, won as an assistant coach at Syracuse. Then he goes to Siena and takes a team who only had 4 wins a couple years before, turns that program around, wins the MAC, and then, gives Duke a very tough game. So that's just the person GMac is. He's the ultimate competitor, and I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, I mean, this moment, I mean, obviously there's been frustration, right? Syracuse hasn't made the tournament 5 straight seasons, and it's been rough. Fans got used to it. Fans got used to 20 to 25 win seasons, going to the tournament, making it, getting a couple wins, maybe being a Sweet 16 team, and now they've been out of it for a minute. How have you kind of seen these last few years? Because you were a part of success at Syracuse. You were a part of runs and a part of, big hopes and dreams and when it came to the Syracuse Orange. And now it's been a minute since they've been to the tournament. So how have you kind of looked at everything these last few years?
Well, I think that Syracuse as a whole was a little late on adapting to the whole NIL era. And I think that's what mainly put us behind. And it wasn't even just Syracuse. I think you could see in the previous years, it was the whole ACC that was behind. You had teams like Louisville only winning 3 games all year.
Yeah.
Teams like Florida State, who I played against, they were top 10 in the country, only winning 4 games. So I think the teams who adapted early are the ones that who are succeeding today. Um, so I think, I mean, the number one thing from the top to the athletic department, to the Syracuse basketball team, to the fans, they all have to back Gerry, back him with, positivity, back him financially. And it's going to take time for him to build his own identity and culture on the team, but um, I think he's going to do a great job with it.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about you believe that Syracuse was behind here and hasn't had the success because they were behind when it came to the NIL world. How do you see things now? Do you feel like, hey, it's a necessary evil? You have to, I don't even want to call it a necessary evil, but it's something that people fought, right? We're not going to pay players. This is an amateur sport and this and that. And then California passed the law. And then during COVID, somehow the NCAA circumnavigated state law and forced all 50 states to do this thing when I believe 41 states were still trying to figure it out at the time. So, I mean, how do you view NIL, and is it something that has to be embraced now? Is it something that you still think like, hey, there's not enough parameters and rules and guidelines? How do you see NIL? Because it was like it was thrown in, the whole model changed, and then people either went with it or didn't go with it. It looks like it's here to stay, but how do you see NIL knowing that we're still figuring out the kinks and there doesn't seem to be a lot of rules and regulations?
I mean, first off, I 100% agree that athletes should get paid. I think if you just look at the mindset of if you have a world-class musician in college, they're able to profit off their talent. When I played, and a lot of other guys like Zion or guys in the past, Melo, we weren't able to profit at all off our talent. I mean, the universities made a lot of money. Of course, the NCAA made a ton of money, and we weren't able to, profit off anything. But with that, it is kind of the wild, wild west right now. And that's to be expected when this is just a new and evolving thing.
Yeah.
So I do think there has to be some parameters around it. And maybe I think they should go towards more of the professional model, professional overseas model. Like if you're a mid-major and a team, maybe you have to, if you're a mid-major, maybe a Power Four school has to like buy a kid out. So now the mid-majors receive money, and the kid goes up to a higher level, receives money. Maybe you can have bonus incentives. If a kid were to have academic achievements, he will get bonuses. If he were to stay extra years at a university and they win games or reach a certain part of the tournament, they get bonuses. So I think there's certain ways you can structure it to help kids want to stay at one school for multiple years and not having to transfer out every single year.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing, right? When you came onto the team 2016-17 season, you're there in 2017-18, you're there in 2018-19. I got to know you. I got to be around you. You got to know who I am as a person. I got to know who you are as a person. When I went into the locker room the last couple seasons, I had to learn faces. When I went in this past year, I had to learn all but 2 faces. JJ Starling coming back and Donnie Freeman. Everybody else, I'm like, okay, who's Nate Kings? Who's Nate George? I mean, who's Soiree? This guy, that. I mean, it's a really strange world to me when I was used to going in there and seeing a Brandon Trish or a Michael Carter Williams for numerous years, seeing you for numerous years, Tyler Lydon for a few seasons, Malachi for a couple seasons. I mean, can we preserve a team in today's NIL transfer portal world? Can a Syracuse preserve the same faces year in and year out?
Well, I think it's gonna be obviously it's difficult. I think it starts at the top with the NCAA. If they want to put rules around it, just to structure it better, they can maybe have multi-year contracts and add the buyout option, like I mentioned before. But also the biggest thing when it comes to recruiting, you have to recruit guys who are not just going to your school for the money, which
Yeah.
is obviously harder said, more difficult than it's very difficult to do. But you need guys who actually want to represent the university in a positive light, represent themselves in a positive light, and that care about winning games. And you see some programs like Gonzaga, UConn, Houston, they were able to do that, and Duke, but they have a certain identity, and it took years and years and years to build that identity. So I think over time GMac will be able to do that, but it's just going to take some time.
Does Syracuse have an identity right now, or do you think they're lacking that?
I think we have to find our new identity. I mean, I think the identity a lot of times go comes and goes with the coaches you hire. Um, so I mean, GMac, I mean, he just got announced a couple of days ago, so it's going to take some time. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't say at this point we have a certain identity, but it's going to take time to build that.
You played under Jim Boeheim. Gerry was an assistant coach under Jim for 14 years, including your time there.
Yeah.
How would you describe Syracuse's identity when you played at Syracuse?
I mean, I would just say I can only speak on my team.
Yeah.
My team, I think we knew who we were, especially my sophomore year. We knew maybe on paper we didn't have the most talent in the world. We heard the noise before the season started, how people were just writing us off in the beginning. Um, so I think we went in with the mindset that we are going to make this every single game we play a dogfight. We didn't care how many points we scored. We were just focused on getting stops, keeping the game close,
Yeah.
and pulling out wins. So every team, I mean, maybe it's not even just like a coach's identity type of thing. Sometimes identity can change based off the teams and who you're playing with, so it takes some time.
Yeah, because I think there is this, it's strange. There's this lack of identity now with Syracuse. And I know you said each team kind of has it, but is there an overarching identity? Like, is there something about Syracuse and the program? Something had to speak to you when you decided to commit and sign with Syracuse. So, what was it? What was it about the Block S that made you say yes back in
Uh,
2016?
yeah, for me, I mean, I'm from New Jersey, so it was extremely important for me to be, for my family to come to games, and Syracuse was the household name in the Northeast. So that's number one. Also, it's just the guards, all the guards that came before me, guys like Dion, Michael Benajay, the guy I was watching before I went to Syracuse, Michael Carter Williams, Tyler Ennis. And I envisioned myself in those scenarios playing in those positions. So um, I think over the years, Syracuse has some amazing guards, some amazing talent. But that's, obviously that's what I saw when I decided to go to Syracuse.
Do you think they're still the face of the Northeast right now, or is that a St. John's Rick Pitino thing? I mean, being a Jersey kid, what do you think is the face of the Northeast right now?
Right now it's hard to compete, with St. John's. But these things it goes in waves, man. It goes in waves.
Yeah.
So it's gonna take some time. I mean, when I was playing, St. John's wasn't very good, and now look at them today. When I was playing, UConn wasn't very good, and look at them today. So it takes time, and you need the right coach to build that culture, and I think GMAC is going to do a great job with that.
Tyus Battle here with me on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Give me your I want to know how you found out Gerry was going to be the coach, and I want you to give me your immediate reaction. So, how did you find out, and what did Tyus Battle do in that moment?
How did I find out?
He
Well,
said,
honestly,
I think he said, I found out on Wake Up Call. I was reading something. Do you think?
no, I'm not gonna lie. When I saw, I mean, obviously, I was really, tuning into all the reports.
Yeah.
But when I saw that Hobson turned the job down, I just pretty much assumed it had to go to GMac. I mean, it had to. I mean, there was no one else on the market. And he proved himself, especially after the game against Duke and the way he had those guys ready to run through a brick wall for him and not backing down. It's it takes a special person and a special communicator
Yeah.
to get your players to do something like that. And I think Gerry has that command. He has that presence. When I visited him a couple of times in Siena, I got to hear him speak in front of the team for the first time as a head coach. And the way all the players leaned on and leaned into every word he was saying, takes a very special communicator to do that. And Gerry has that gift.
Bring me into that. How many times did you go to Siena, and go a little bit deeper into the experience of how, maybe what he said or what stuck with you?
So I went, first time going up to Siena was during the preseason before the season started. Got to check into a practice.
Was it this season?
This season.
Okay.
Yeah, before the season started. So everyone was healthy, everyone was playing. And then my first game was against Ryder at the end of the year. The last game against Ryder. Went up to Siena, watched them play. Went to the back of the locker room, heard Gerry speak. And then I also went to the MAC tournament in Atlantic City. And just to watch him win that was amazing. And Dion was there to support him. And it was special to see. It was special to see because I knew how much that meant for Gerry, how much it meant for the players and the staff, and for them to get that done shorthanded, missing some of their best players, pretty much only playing with five players for a good portion of the season was amazing.
You said Dion Waiters was there. Did you guys get to interact?
Yeah, we spoke for a good amount of time.
Yeah, you're smiling. What was it like to spend some time with Mr. Waiters?
No, it was good. We were just going back and forth about stories of Syracuse, reminiscing about the times. He has a son now who plays both football and basketball, and I'm coaching at a prep school in Pennington, New Jersey. So I was doing a little bit of recruiting in the process. So it was good. Dion's a great guy, and anytime you run into Syracuse family, it's like you've known them for years. I mean, just the amount of paths we've crossed and the people we've gone in contact with is always special, and that's what makes Syracuse such a special place.
Well, like you said, I mean, you're sharing stories with him back and forth. Did you guys talk about, like, when you're there at the MAC tournament, was there any conversation of, hey, this could be our guy? Like, we could see, Coach GMac come back to Syracuse. Were you guys rumbling about that while you were at the MAC tournament?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, he saw the command that GMac has. I mean, GMac was his guard coach as well. I mean, he went through the 5:30 a.m. workouts all summer long, just like I did. GMac got us both through a lot of stuff through our time in Syracuse. A guy who we can lean on when things weren't going great on or off the court. So there was a lot of similar experience that we've had, and GMac was able to help us through.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, Gerry was your guard coach, and so, I mean, he helped guide you. What did he bring? Like, when you see him as a coach, you experience him as a coach, the day-to-day, the 5:30 a.m. workouts, what was it about his coaching when you were with him and, you know, you were spending your time at Syracuse as a student athlete? What did you take away from his coaching style or the way he went about it that made you think like, hey, this guy, he knows what he's doing when it comes to coach? Because not every player can translate to a coach.
I think a lot of people like to just go through drill work, skill work, you know, the basic stuff. But Jerry always emphasized competition,
Okay.
always. Whether it was just a simple shooting drill, we'll be shooting against each other trying to win. Maybe it was a time drill where we're competing against ourselves and we have to fight through the fatigue of we're not leaving this gym until you beat the clock. And that's just who he is, and I mean, as a competitor myself, that's what I love. That's what I love doing. I love competition. I hate losing, and that's why me and G we always got along so great.
How many times did he school somebody in practice?
A good amount, a good amount. I mean, by the time I got there, he wasn't really playing pickup against the players, but he was definitely playing pickup against the managers. So, and you would have thought he was reminiscing about the old Big East days, the way he was going at them. So that's like I said, that's just who he is, man. He doesn't take anytime he steps on the floor, um, he's trying to win. He's trying to win.
What specifically did he teach you? Like when you look back on your game, how you came into Syracuse and how you left Syracuse, what's the imprint that Gerry McNamara made on you?
I think the biggest thing is just resilience, um, especially as a student athlete at Syracuse University. There's a lot of stuff you can go through, a lot of pressure that you might face, um, and a lot of noise, outside noise that you might hear. But just to have the mental toughness to block it out and focus on the task at hand until it's accomplished. I think those are the biggest lessons he was able to teach me.
Tyus Battle here with us this morning, speaking on the hiring of Gerry McNamara as the new head coach at Syracuse University, returning after being a player and an assistant coach. So here we are. Syracuse has their third coach in 51 years. Boeheim was 47 years. Adrian was 3. And here comes Gerry for 26, 27. What's your pitch to the Syracuse fan base with Gerry as the head coach?
Um, they need to give him some grace, man. I know it's tough. But people have to understand this new environment that we're in. And everything, I mean, obviously, always the decisions at the end of the day comes down to the coaches, but there's a lot of stuff that they have to go through to even make things happen and to create a successful team.
Yeah.
So I didn't really love the way that fans were treating Coach Red. Because at the end of the day, I mean, these guys, we bleed orange as players, assistant coaches, and as these two guys, head coaches as well. And all they want at the end of the day is for what's best for Syracuse. And it's not easy to do. I mean, Coach had 40 plus years to create his identity and to create a culture on the program. Today, coaches aren't given that grace. I mean, if you don't win in the first year or two, you're usually out of there, which is a very tough cycle to go through. So fans have to be patient, let Gerry create his identity on the team, on the culture of the new Syracuse era, and good things will come. Good things will come.
Adrian attempted to do more than the 2-3 zone. You were forced to live in that world.
Hmm.
Do you want Gerry to bring it back, or would you like to see a mix of the two? How do you view, I shouldn't even say the two because you could play a bunch of different zones or man. How do you look at things? Because the fan base, some of them were begging Jim to do anything other than the 2-3 zone. And and I know that it wasn't simply a 2-3 zone. There was nuances and pieces to it that went beyond just a typical 2-3. And then Adrian tried to do different things. What would you like to see, having gone through the gamut of 2-3 or die?
I mean, you gotta do whatever you can do to win games. That's the thing. Like, I don't care if it's a 2-3, 3-2, 1-3-1, man to man, it doesn't matter. But you have to do what's ever best for the opponent you're facing that night.
Yeah.
And there was at times where, Red, obviously they played man to man. They were beginning of the season, they were a very good man to man team and kind of dropped off. They switched the zone a couple times, but you just have to adapt. The game flows in different ways. It's a roller coaster, so you have to be a very adaptable as a coach. Um, and yeah, so it doesn't matter to me, man. 2-3, man to man, doesn't matter to me. Let's just get wins.
Did you ever, the statute of limitations is over, so you can't get in trouble for this. Did you ever look at Boeheim and go, all right, like, let's do something else, coach? Like, I mean, did y'all run other things in practice? I mean, they say, oh, we do man-to-man in practice, but we don't get to see practice. So, I mean, paint the picture for me. Did you do other stuff in practice? 1, 2, did you ever look at Bay and say, my guy, can we do something else?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely ran man to man in practice, especially early in the season. We did run man to man, but we knew we were going to sit back in that zone. I mean, it worked for all those years. I know coach, he sticks to what he believes in, as he should. Um, Obviously, as a player, there's definitely been some times when I thought like, okay, this might be time. I mean, Kyle Guy just hit his 7-3 against us. Let's maybe get out this thing. But I mean, the zone has proven to work.
Yeah.
And I knew what I was getting into when I chose to go to Syracuse. So I have no regrets on that.
You have 1 year of eligibility. Will you call Gerry?
Oh, say that one more time.
I said you have 1 year of eligibility. If my math is right, will you call Gerry, please?
Oh, I wish, man. I wish. Man, I would love to suit up again. I would love it.
So before I let you go, Tyus Battle here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. There was people that were clamoring to stay away from the Boeheim tree because Boeheim to Adrian to Gerry, they didn't want to do it. And it's so weird. They wanted Gerry. The fan base heard Brian Holdson. Then it split. And it was like Holdson, yes, Gerry, no, or Gerry, yes, Holdson, no. And then there was all this love for Gerry again. So it's been very strange to experience I want Gerry, I don't want Gerry, I want Gerry. But how do you respond to, I don't even want to say it's the fan base necessarily because it could be anybody, but to the people that have disrespected Jim Boeheim, they don't want his coaching tree. They want nobody associated with him, which means they want no one from the Syracuse Brotherhood, which you're a part of. So, I mean, how when you see that stuff, when they're like, no more Boeheim, no more anything connected to Boeheim, how do you view when you see things like that?
I mean, it's a little disappointing, but people have to understand as well, like as athletes who Coach Red and Gerry are, they've been hearing this outside noise for years. When they played, when they coached, when coach coached. So they're not worried about any of that. Their main focus is just to win games and block out the noise. Now, if the fans want to get on board with that, they can do it. They don't have to do it. But I know the guys in that building inside Mello, they have one focus, and that's to win games.
Yeah. No, and I love that, and I appreciate that. And I've known Red for a long time, over a decade. I sat with him at Borio's restaurant when we did a live show together, and he looked at me and told me that he had every intent of being a head coach someday. And then I got to see it happen. What do you want to say about Coach Red, Adrian Autry, from your point of view?
I mean, Red. First off, Red is an amazing human being. I mean, always smiling, always helping the players out, always staying after I mean, there's been so many times I've seen Red stay, hours or 2 hours, 3 hours, getting extra shots up with players. He's someone you can always go to when you need advice, always need a favor. And obviously, just from his recruiting history, players tend to really uh, like the person that Red is. And I think the way he handled the whole situation over the past 2 to 3 years, trying to navigate the NIL era, um, succeeding Coach Boeheim and Hall of Famer, which is a very tough thing to do. Um, how he was able to stay positive through all the noise. It just tells you, and it shows, it should shows everyone in Syracuse the type of human being he is. Um, so, and I know Red is. I mean, he has a wealth of knowledge about the game of basketball, and I know he's gonna be just fine.
Yeah, and before we get into rapid fire and let you put me on the hot seat for a second, why do you think Gerry McNamara is going to be successful? He's been a successful player. He's been a successful assistant coach at Syracuse. What makes you believe he will now be a successful head coach at Syracuse?
Just like you said it, man. He's done it. He's done it everywhere he's gone. He's done it everywhere he's gone. So why stop here? So, G's gonna be he's good. He's gonna be good there, man. I'm so excited, and just the way, like I mentioned before, he's a special communicator, and a lot of times as a head coach, you need that command, and you need to be able to get your message across in a way that your players can understand. So, and ever since I've known Gerry, that's always been his gift.
Is there anybody better to coach Syracuse than a part of the Brotherhood? I mean, do you almost feel like the flip side of what we talked about a few minutes ago, that a coach that's going to be with Syracuse and stay with Syracuse is someone who's come through the program? Do you feel like a place like Syracuse, does it need to have somebody who's been in the family? Because they looked elsewhere, the Brian Hodgsons, the Josh Schertzes and whatnot. Do you feel like it ultimately has to be a member of the family in order to be in a place specifically like Syracuse?
I think it does. I think it does. I mean, Syracuse is a very unique place, has a unique community, a unique fan base, a very passionate fan base. So to have a person who has not only been through it as a student, but also an athlete and a coach, I think that's the right choice, right choice to make.
I love it. Now, right before rapid fire, you said you're coaching now. I want you to tell everybody a little bit about it.
Yeah, so I'm coaching at Pennington Prep, my first year doing it. Honestly, I never thought that I would get into coaching.
Okay.
I'm not officially retired yet, but never thought I would get into coaching. But I tried it out this year, and I love it. I love it, man. And we're in a very competitive league. It's in the Maple League, so some of the teams in our league is like Blair, which had Deron Rippey going to Duke. They have about 7 to 8 Division I kids on that team. It's comparable to the NEPSAC out in the New England area.
Yeah.
So it's high level competition. I mean, kids are going there to get better at their sport, and I love it, man. Giving back to the next generation.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I'm on the website. So shout out to what you're doing with the Pennington School. I look forward to it.
I'll also mention too. I am coaching with Team Final out in Philly this year as well. I played for Team Final when I was younger. It's a Nike UYBL program. Dion played for them. Malachi played for them. Myself, a ton of NBA guys in the past. So I'm excited for that as well.
So you never thought you'd get into coaching. Now you're coaching 2 different places. So
Yep.
I'm excited for it. Coach Battle. I like it. So with that being said, let's play some rapid fire. We'll go back and forth. You get to ask the first question. Could be anything in the world. What do you got for me, Tyus?
Oh, anywhere in the, oh, man. Uh, Give me your favorite movie this year. If you've been to the movies this year.
I have. And it's got to be the one I saw last night with my brother Isaac. It's got to be Project Hail Mary. So
I'm planning on seeing that. I heard it's good.
listen, I went on a Tuesday. I mean, we went yesterday on a Tuesday.
So you
And
go to $7 movie Tuesdays? You do that?
yeah, I did the $7 movie Tuesdays. And
I do it every Tuesday, man.
yeah,
Every Tuesday.
I was like, I got the popcorn. I might have snuck in some things. So,
Yeah.
but I got to tell you this. I'm going to tell you two things. So we went to go see Project Hail Mary, and we were going to go to the 6:15. There was no seats, like the first 3 rows. Everything was gone except for like a couple seats. So we went and sat in the 3rd row at 5:45. I'm like, what is it? The summer right now? Like, but they promoted this movie for a year, so people wanted to go out and see it. So we saw it. We liked it. It was really, really good. I'm not going to give anything away. I'm just going to tell you this because I had this conversation last night. I'm good at sneaking things into the theaters, and I really hope that nobody's watching this from the theaters. But the biggest things I've ever snuck in are a bowl of chili and a burrito from Chipotle.
Oh man. Oh my goodness. That's hilarious.
My question back to you, Tyus, is if you could live in any movie, TV universe, like any one of the movies or TV, what universe would you live in and why?
Oh man. That's a difficult one, man. You know what? So I was a big video game guy growing up. Love video games. Big Call of Duty guy. Love first person shooters. I don't know if you ever saw the movie Ready Player One,
I saw
where like
parts of it. I haven't
they
seen
put
it.
on goggles and they can just be whoever they want to be and live in this like video game world.
Yeah.
That concept was like the coolest thing to me when I saw that movie. So I think I'll say that.
All right, Ready Player One. I like it. What's your next question for me?
Hmm. Hmm. Who do you have picked winning the NCAA tournament this year?
In the famous words of the NFL movie Draft Day,
Hmm.
I said this a few years ago, and I have it again. It's Houston, no matter what.
Okay.
Calvin please.
You gotta get it done. You gotta get it done.
I've been talking about them for 4 or 5 years now. I'm like, come on, Calvin. I've
Yeah.
interviewed him. I've interviewed the players. I'm like, come on, Calvin, let's do it. But yeah, Houston, no matter what. My question back to you: if Tyus Battle was to sneak in a bunch of snacks into a movie, give me the 4 snacks you would bring in. Could be anything: cookies, candy, chili, whatever you want. But I want to know the 4 things that you would bring in.
And I do this all the time. It'll be the Airhead Bites, the
Okay.
chewy candies. I love those things. Airhead Bites, the Hershey bar, but the cookies and cream.
Okay.
And cream. Um, Drink would be probably a what's it called? A pure, is it Pure Leaf? I don't even know. I don't even know the name of it. Pure Li the iced tea.
The Pure Leaf, the iced teas, yeah.
Pure Leaf iced tea.
Okay.
And what else do I usually bring? And a pack of gum.
And a
I'm a
pack.
big gum guy, always. That's my one addiction is chewing gum.
So what flavor?
Uh, it's right here.
Okay, you got the spearmint.
Five rain.
Okay, 5 rain. I like it.
That's the
So
best. That's the best.
what Pure Leaf are you bringing? There's like a million different iced teas. Which one are you bringing?
The lemon.
The lemon. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So if my girlfriend is watching, I'm not the only one that brings stuff in.
Oh, I mean, you see the price of snacks in the movie that you got to. But the $7 Tuesdays, you get the points. You do get a couple free popcorns and stuff. So
Yeah,
you
that's
got
right. Yeah, I brought so like I said, I brought my brother yesterday. So I get the tickets. I show up, and before I left the house, he goes, "What are you bringing?" I said, "Man, what do you mean? What am I bringing?" So I said, "I'll get some candy for us." So I put together, bag of candy for him, bag of candy for me. I go, "What are you bringing?" He goes, "Myself." So I had water for him. I had candy for him. And when we got there, I got the free popcorn and gave him one. And he's like, "I'm good now." I said, "It must be nice." But
Uh,
I'll give him credit. He bought us pizza a couple days ago. So, he did me a solid for sure. All right.
let's go.
So, so I asked you, so now what's your last one for me?
Hmm. What was what was your favorite video game growing up?
That's a good question. I finally found it because I have an original Nintendo. I
Mm.
looked for this game for, I don't even know, 13 years, 10 years. Chippendale Rescue Rangers on the original Nintendo
Original Nintendo.
is amazing. Or Mario on that, Mario 1 and Mario 3. But if I
Okay.
had to pick something I played all the time on the computer and on whatever I had, PlayStation, Xbox, doesn't matter, is Madden. Of Madden.
Madden.
Madden, I made myself a quarterback, or number 21, which is wild because now there is a guy who's honoring Lawrence Moten on the football team this year, Danny Lauder, who is wearing 21 as a
Oh,
quarterback.
that's
So
awesome. That's
yeah, so it's
awesome.
kind of cool. But yeah, I'd probably say Madden was the one that stood the test of time.
Okay. All right, nice.
My question back to you. All right, Tyus, let's have some fun. We've had this friendship for a while. So you and I you're gonna make a movie.
Mm.
So it's starring you and I. I
Mm.
want to know, what genre is it gonna be? So what type of movie are we doing? You got to give us both a job that we don't have right now. So what
Oof.
genre is it? What job are we doing? And what's the point of the movie? Like, what's our pitch that you need to come see this movie?
Oh, oh, that's tough.
This is coming from a screenwriter, so I want to see your skills on this.
This is tough, man. Well, first off, anyone who knows me personally, they know I'm a huge horror movie fan.
Okay.
Big horror movie guy. So with that, the plot can be very tough because I need good horror movies. I mean, if you get a boring horror movie plot, it's like the cliche stuff. So, oh,
See, but
that's
here's the
tough.
thing. I got Hispanic blood and you're African American, so I guess we're both going to die at the same time.
That's true. That's true. That's true. I think the only horror movie I've seen where the black person didn't die was I guess Get Out. And I think wasn't LL Cool J in one of he was in one of the Friday the 13th or something. I think he lived to see the day to the end.
Yeah.
So uh,
I don't get it. Like, if I was the person that was being told to go to the basement by myself, I'd be like, "Nah, man, you go." So, like, I'm not going anywhere by myself in this
yeah,
movie, but
they always make the worst decisions. That's why it's so hard to make a good horror movie, man. It's very, very difficult.
so you and I are going to be in a horror movie.
Horror movie, man. We gotta make it out. We
Okay,
gotta make
so
it out. I don't know how.
what's the pitch? Why should they go see it? And you got to give us both a job.
Mm. I don't even know, man. That was a tough question. You might have got me.
So we're in a
You-
horror movie. Now I'm going to tell you this and this is crazy that you said it. So I got to film a movie this past year
Mm.
as an extra, and I got to be on set for a bunch of days, and I got to work with the main actor and some of the other people in a horror movie that's a sequel to a movie. So I may actually be on screen in a horror movie this Halloween.
Really?
Yeah.
I gotta see that.
Yeah, so as we get closer, I can let you know off the air, but
Okay.
as we get closer to it, and I said I would never do any horror stuff, but the people on the thing, like the actors, the actresses were amazing. I got to play a role that I've jokingly said to God I've always wanted to do. And it was the last day. I looked at the main actor and I was like, he's like, "Hey Dan, what's up?" And I was like, "Hey," and he treated me like we were on the same level. I mean, this guy's done a ton of movies. I've, gotten to be an extra in a couple, and him and I were talking and we're on set, and I said to him, I was like, they keep putting us together. Like, not only are we in the scene together, but we keep acting off each other. So I said, that's just kind of cool that you and I have been together. And he looked right at me dead serious. He goes, "There's a reason why they keep calling you back." And I was like, well, hopefully that's a good thing for the future. But yeah, so it's awesome, it's wild. But yeah, no, what I got to do was fun. But what I know about this movie is it's going to be insane. Like insane. Really? It's going to be I saw the first one. So like this movie's going to be insane. But unless they CGI something, I live. So,
okay. Hey,
I don't die.
I'm excited to see this, man. Yeah, I'm excited to see this.
Yeah. So who would have thought that I would be, potentially going and seeing a scary movie with Tyus Battle that I'm in? I didn't even know you like scary movies. So.
No, I love them, man. I love them.
Do you have a favorite?
I would say Hereditary.
Okay.
Hereditary. Okay. Definitely original type of movie. Like the jump scare stuff doesn't get me at all. I mean, it's more about like if I'm thinking about the movie after I leave the theater, I know it did its job. So Hereditary is really good, and some of the recent ones. I actually saw one the other day called Undertone.
Oh yeah. I saw that.
Yeah,
that was
I saw that the other day. That was pretty good.
Was that about like the white noise, the EVP stuff?
Yeah.
I saw one years ago, White Noise. It disturbed the heck out of me. So I was like, I don't know if I can see Undertone.
But that's what I mean. Like horror movies are very hard. It's very hard to make a good horror movie because it has to be original and it has to be something different.
Yeah. Something
very different that people aren't used to seeing. So Undertone was pretty good.
Crazy, wild, and but disturbing. So, we started with GMac, we ended with Hereditary and disturbing movies. But as always, my guy, I always appreciate having you on, Tyus, and it's always my pleasure.
Appreciate that.
And I'll look forward to talking with you soon, and I will tell you off the air some more information.
All right, sounds good.
All right, man, be good. Take care. Give my best to your family.
Yep, definitely.
See you. Coming from Tyus Battle one more time here on the show, starting with Gerry, ending with Scary. That's how it went on the broadcast today. So we appreciate y'all for being here. We're going to take a final step aside on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Stay with us.
Hey everybody, this is Rockney Roberts from Willow Rock Brewing Company. We are here in Cicero at the Willow Rock Pizza Pub.
And I'm Kevin Williams, also from Willow Rock Brewing Company. Happy to be here and happy to be partnering with CNS and Dan Tortora.
You want some place where you can feel comfortable and hopefully ingratiate yourself with the community. And Kevin, he grew up right down the road from here. I grew up in Brewerton, so not too far away. We know the area, we know the people, they're great, and we were just really excited to be able to come to the area.
And having the opportunity to meet some of these coaches, some of the people in general already, and seeing the CNS colors kind of around, and already partnering on a smaller level with individual teams really made this make sense to us to really formalize kind of a partnership with the school and get this rolling.
Willow Rock to me has always been about high quality beverages, high quality experiences, and now high quality food in our pizza pub. That was something new for us when we came to Cicero. Right from the drop, we knew we were going to have a focus on the highest quality food to go with our high quality beer. At the Willow Rock Pizza Pub, you're getting high quality, hand cut, top notch ingredients. We're open for lunch. That's a really important thing for us, is to be able to get that person in here like, hey, you only got 30 minutes for lunch, but we're going to have something for you that you can get quickly and available to everybody.
Yeah, we wanted something that was just a little bit outside the box, a little bit outside of comfort zone, but still something that you could rely on to be consistent and easy to look at and easy to be like, oh, I can see myself eating this. I can see myself wanting to have that more than once. Eating a whole pizza, like our beef on weck pizza, I've never seen one anywhere. It's just a great ideas, great inspiration across the board. We're their spot to stop. We're their friendly neighborhood watering hole, as well as pizza place and place to stop for a restaurant. Not just beer drinkers here. We've got wines, we got cocktails, we got non-alcoholic stuff for the kids.
The location is more important today than it ever has been before, and we're lucky enough to be here in Cicero. The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is a place where you can bring your family. You can come in, you can grab a soda, you can relax. You can come after a game, before a game, your parents, your grandparents. Our goal is to make sure that everyone's comfortable here. We want students, we want athletes, we want your coaches. It's going to be a good time. So come here, enjoy the high quality food, high quality beverage that we're going to offer to everybody. And hey, go North Stars.
We're so happy to have the North Stars. We are very much a kid-friendly establishment. We have tons of space outside for everybody to be playing outside, as well as listening to live music, enjoying some pizza.
The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is open 6 days a week here in Cicero. That is Tuesday through Sunday. And our website is willowrockbrew.com, and our socials are at Willow Rock Brew. So find us on the net, find us in person. We'll see you soon.
Avicoli's Restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on in to the neighborhood spot Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's K9, ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes. And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. You know, we want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to a Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I mean, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. I mean, you can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, you know, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, you know, everyone in the world's going to sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, you know, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place, and I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Casanova, and we smoke a lot of our products. A delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays. From a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing, and you go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Cas location, and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different, and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point, because you get a little something different at each one. You know, we understand how hard it is to, you know, work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
And a big time thanks to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt for being a part of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. They're into their nostalgia, which is taking the originals that you love, the favorites you love from Chick-fil-A, and mixing them up with some new twists to them, and that being the fact that you can go to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard right now and get yourself these new menu items, which feature the wonderful entree that you can get, the Jalapeno Ranch Club meal. And so you could definitely check that out today. The Jalapeno Ranch Club is available for you. Original, spicy, or grilled Jalapeno Ranch Club is one of those new favorites at Chick-fil-A, as well as the strawberry hibiscus infused beverages. So make sure you get over to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt today on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard for Megan Sorber and her team. I want to give a special thanks to GG Cards and Breaks as well for being a part of the show. GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. They are open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6 and on Sundays from 10 to 5. You can find singles, packs, boxes, graded cards, everything that you need to protect your cards, to showcase them, to travel with them. Everything is at GG Cards and Breaks. And why collect cards? Well, it brings you closer to the players and the teams that we talk about here on the show. It brings you closer to the games you love and the characters you love. And there's relationships that I've built through the sports card and trading card world that I would have never met these people, arguably, without having these cards. So yeah, to some people it may be a piece of cardboard, but to me, they're memories. Memories of friendships, of moments with my grandmothers, my grandparents, my parents, times where I got to do something really cool, interact with somebody, find something amazing, and pay it forward, help make somebody's day or somebody makes my day. The sports card and trading card world is a really unique community. It's ever growing, and the support that we've had in Syracuse and Central and Upstate New York has been incredible. So I ask you all to go to GG Cards and Breaks, the beacon of this card community, on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. And of course, right off at Teal Ave, open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6 and on Sundays from 10 to 5.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. Could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, We just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening the doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. And I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people, that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing. And so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and then those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I want to thank you for being with us on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe. We're also with you in our playback on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Many thanks to Central and Upstate New York and our partners, Great Lakes Honda City, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Pizza Man, as well as Chick-fil-A, Cicero, Game Point Sports Complex, Willow Rock Brewing Company, and the Willow Rock Pizza Pub, Bryan's Landing, Myers Creek, which has 2 locations, one on the countryside on 33 Rippleton Road in Cazenovia, the other on 720 Van Rensselaer Street in Syracuse, New York, in the Syracuse Inner Harbor. Big time shout out to Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Chick-fil-A in DeWitt, Avicoli's, and Mother's Cupboard, where I have my own sandwich. You can head out and get the GMac Mother, bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 pieces of French toast. Cut it up and have it with some syrup. Pick it up and eat it like a sandwich, and you can find it today and every day at Mother's Cupboard exclusively on 3709 James Street in Syracuse, New York. Open 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. daily. Big time shout out to Pizza Man, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Binghamton University Bearcats. The Bearcats are here with us every Tuesday during Bearcat Time. Find the Bearcats Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni joining the show, telling their stories right here on Wake Up Call in a way that you won't find anywhere else. You can find all of our content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell. Find our Binghamton playlist. You'll also find the Bearcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. I want to thank you for being a part of the show today. I want to thank my better half of The Drive bringing you through the NCAA tournament, proudly presented by Great Lakes Honda City, giving you a recap of the round of 64, round of 32, letting you know how Ross's bracket and my bracket are faring right now, and to give you our picks for the Sweet 16. Some of our picks are exactly the same as our bracket, and some we had to make our selections with our bracket having not gone forward in some of those areas. So a lot of good stuff with Ross. As always, I appreciate him. Shout out to my niches. It's a Boy Meets World reference for niece, but my shout out to my niches. I appreciate them very much. Lorelei and, of course, LJ, and to the Turetsky family. Much love to Ross and the team. And, of course, much love to Tyus Battle, a friend of mine, and Syracuse Orange alum, speaking on the hiring of Gerry McNamara and so much more about Syracuse basketball. With that being said, inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I say, God bless, no stress, do your best. We'll talk with you soon. Find us on social media. Be safe and be kind.